Today is my 9-year wedding anniversary. Dan and I separated 9 days ago. It's been an interesting morning already. I woke up not sleeping. I haven't slept well in so long. But I woke up and of course very aware of what this day is, and took a little time to meditate in silence and let some emotions come. And I noticed that I'm kind of not going deep into my emotions, and I'm wondering if it's avoidance because it would be too painful, or just because at this moment I'm not overwhelmed by emotions. So those are interesting observations and questions. But I already kind of broke a pattern of mine this morning. So I was waiting to talk or to connect with Dan this morning. So Dan reached out to me and said, "Good morning." And he said, "How are you doing?" And I replied in a text several different ways. And he said, "Same to him." And I had been up for a little while, and I had just gotten ready to go for a hike before the crowds and the sun getting too hot. And I acted in a way that was against one of my patterns, because he was available to talk and we were just kind of opening up the conversation. And I texted him, "I really want to talk with you, but I'm heading out to the trail and I really feel my body needs to move all that energy." And, he said, "Go enjoy the trails and I'll be here when you're ready. I'll be here all day." But it was interesting, the tug inside of me of questioning myself, is it the right thing to just, postpone or not do my hike this morning, even though I really enjoy them, because this is our anniversary morning and he's there and we're going to talk about things. And so I was really this internal debate, because it's a habit of mine to wait for him to be ready to talk or to be in a place to talk, or it's just something. So this morning, prioritizing me and saying, what do I want to do? And not fear that if I don't say yes, my world is going to end. I'm not going to be abandoned. I'm not going to be unloved. I'm not all the things that come from 5-year-old Annie. So I actually got into the car and drove to the trailhead and went for my hike. And that's an interesting twist in my patterns, which I really appreciate. And on the trail, so many times, you've seen before, I just, emotions keep welling up. And this morning, again, whether it's because I'm not willing to go that deep, or I'm just going that deep all the time, and this morning I'm just not there. But I'm on my hike and I'm just hiking. I'm in my head a little bit more than in the now. I have to admit that, which tells me maybe I am trying to avoid going in my emotions. But I'm here sitting and looking at the beauty and deciding to do a little bit of muscle toning, which I desperately need. But it's kind of funny that I'm still not going that deep. And today is our 9th wedding anniversary. I did want to say a little bit about our wedding. Dan and I, we were married 9 years ago. So we had met 7 years before here in Sedona. Our paths crossed one afternoon, and that was it. In the 7 following years, we exchanged a couple communications on LinkedIn, and that's it. And then in January 2014, I had moved back. I had been living in Vancouver. I had moved back with my mother in Montreal, or in the countryside, in Saint-Sauveur, in the country ski village in Quebec. And I reached out to Dan because I had a book And I thought, that guy Dan, he kind of had a network going, so I'll reach back to him. And I did, and Dan was like, apparently. So he says he saw my name come in a message in Facebook, which was the first time I ever used that. And he said, ooh, Annie Paquette is reaching out to me. And we started chatting, and 3 days later, we realized that he had just moved back. I thought he was living in Colorado. He had moved back to take care of his parents in upstate New York. So we were like 60 miles apart. So he said, I'm going to come over and get a copy of your book. And so we drove up, and we ended up having a 10-hour date. And 3 days later, he came back. My mother went to stay with her sister to give us some space. And that night and next day, we actually planned on spending, well, the rest of our life. Maybe not. But we had actually planned on continuing on together. And 2 months later, I had some engagements in Vancouver for some book talks. But in May, at the end of April, early May, we flew to Vancouver because my things were still there. My car was there, and we put all my things to move back to the East Coast because we were going to find a place together. And we went on an epic road trip from Vancouver to LA through all the national parks. And then when we were in Moab, Utah, we actually decided to get married while on our trip. So we decided the night before, in the morning, we went to the city hall, I guess, and we're told that Utah is like Vegas for weddings, but with less marketing. So we got our paper, and at 4:00 in the afternoon, we were married by a cowboy on a pedestrian bridge over the Colorado River, and blessed by 2 monks after the ceremony that were passing by. And during the day, we had getting ready, we had all kinds of magical encounters, and we ended up having 11 guests on the bridge with us at 4:00. Some of them coming running, saying, we changed our plans because we wanted to be here with you. We were supposed to go there. And somebody else, our car broke down, and we found it was a sign that we were supposed to be here with you guys. And we had this amazing ceremony. And everybody was crying, saying it was the most beautiful wedding they had ever seen. And it was absolutely magical. And that's when we started our life. And both of us were living with our parents, or my mom and his parents. And so on the road, Dan found work. And we drove to New York and moved into a hotel room. And this is how our crazy marriage life together started. But the start was absolutely, absolutely magic. And we had a lot of magic during those 9 years, which is why this is very sad, because we really, maybe it still is, but we felt like this was a sacred union and that we had a mission here to do together. And our patterns and wounds and everything just got too deep, and we were not able to work through them. And here we are today. 9-year anniversary, the end of a cycle. End of a cycle, today, the beginning of something new.